What's good people, and welcome to the Silly, Nerdy, Sometimes Wordy podcast, and I'm your host, BK, and this is episode 51, NFL Week 1, Sunday Night Football, a fan's breakdown, Rams versus Lions, and in this episode, I'm going to be doing my quick points, a few things from the first NFL full Sunday afternoon, and some nerdy notes about some fantasy nuggets and things around the league. All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm back again. Another episode talking some more NFL football. Gonna just mention the first overall NFL Sunday, and then some nerdy stuff, and just kind of focusing in on this Los Angeles Rams and Detroit Lion game, which was great. Okay, so now let's get into the nerdy notes. And in this nerdy notes, I am focusing all on the sports side. Let's start off with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, we know he has been trying to get this contract extension done. Jerry Jones has been talking a lot in the media, as he does. And this morning, on Sunday morning, about 90 minutes before the kickoff of the 1 o'clock games, about 6 hours before the Dallas Cowboy games, news broke that the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott agreed to a contract extension. The terms of the deal are Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott, quarterback, he agrees to a 4-year contract extension worth a total of $240 million. $231 million of that is guaranteed. This puts him at a $60 million per year salary. He gets an $80 million signing bonus. So the deal gets done, and he's now set. And that is now over. So within these last few weeks, they signed CeeDee Lamb. He got his extension done, and they got Dak Prescott extension done. Now, the next person up is Micah Parsons. Of course, they can wait, I want to say, next off season for him, but he's going to be the next one up. Will they be able to keep him, all three of these guys, paid under the salary cap? So we'll see how that goes. Dak went out and played very well as CeeDee Lamb. They all got out the game healthy, so that was good. Also, I want to mention in this game, I wasn't going to, but Tom Brady made his debut as a broadcaster. And my quick thoughts on it, I think he needs, I'm no expert, of course, but I think he needs more reps, more live reps of doing it. I thought the things that he said, when he said it, was very well, but I felt like his timing was delayed, I want to say, in terms of Kevin Burkhardt gave him space to kind of go in there and give his analysis, and I felt like it was too much of a delayed response of him giving his analysis on the plays when it happened. And when he did, it was good, but just it was a bit slow. But I think he just needs more reps, and it's only week 1. And he has, 18, 19 more weeks to go, plus playoffs, and he will be the one calling the Super Bowl. So, interesting, but we'll see how week 2 goes. And I was watching Red Zone, so I couldn't really get a full sense of how he was doing the entire game, and I'll get to listen more as the weeks go on and get a real sense of him on the standalone games for them, meaning the Thanksgiving game and the playoff game. So anyways, the next nerdy note I have is also a lot of things that happened pregame before the 1 o'clock games. But the NFL announced their Super Bowl 59 halftime performer. It will be rapper Kendrick Lamar. He will be the Super Bowl 59 halftime, the Apple halftime show. He will be the one performing at the halftime show. I'm sure he will possibly have some other artist bands that will come along with him. So normally they don't announce it this early, like week 1. They tend to do this halfway through the season, maybe around Thanksgiving time, during those games, whether they announce it during a Fox game or during the CBS game. So this is a different take for the NFL. They typically don't announce this week 1, so this is new. But it'll be a rapper, Kendrick Lamar. He'll be performing at the Super Bowl 59 halftime show, which will be in New Orleans, and Fox will be the network that will be broadcasting the network. So you will get more Tom Brady calling the Super Bowl. Another nerdy note, a quick personal one-ish, kind of. I want to shout out my undergraduate school, North Carolina Central University. There is a football player that went to North Carolina Central University. I didn't know he is in the league. He went undrafted. Brandon Cordington. He went undrafted to the New York Jets. He made their squad. Apparently, the Buffalo Bills traded for him, and they traded a 6th-round pick to the New York Jets to get him on the team. He was in the game today. He started. He was on special teams. He had 1 kick return for 53 yards and 1 punt return for 7 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but still, I just wanted to give him a quick shout out. Go Eagles, NCCU. That's my alma mater, my undergrad. So I wanted to give him a quick shout out in my school. And lastly, number 4 overall pick, drafted to the Arizona Cardinals, Marvin Harrison Jr., son of the great Marvin Harrison, on those Peyton Manning Colts teams. He was a high draft pick, and not much production from him today. He only had 1 catch for 4 yards on 3 targets, no touchdowns. Interesting way to go about it. A very, very high draft pick, not a lot of production, but it's only week 1. I didn't watch this whole game from start to finish. Like I said, I mainly watch Red Zone on Sunday afternoons. So it's possible maybe he was bracketed the whole game, double teamed, and just the flow of the game didn't go his way, but he was only targeted, like I said, 3 times. So I'm pretty sure that they are going to make a conservative effort to get him the ball early and often come week 2 when their next opponent. So, okay, that went a little long, but that's fine. Now let's get into our main topic, which is this Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions. The Lions home opener. This was an interesting game. This was a good game. It went into overtime with the Detroit Lions winning 26-20. This game started off a little slow. Both defenses held their teams, forced the other offenses to 3 and outs. Specifically, Alex Anzalone, he got penetration on 2 back-to-back plays in the Rams offensive line. And unfortunately, as the game went on, the Rams had some injuries on the offensive line. They lost a guard and one of their tackles. And so as the game went on, the Detroit Lions was able to get more penetration, more pressure on the Rams. And so once their replacements got in, but the Rams did adjust. Matthew Stafford started to release the ball quickly, so he started to get the ball out quick to his receivers and backs. And so, that there was an interesting game, and it's unfortunate that the Rams had these injuries so early in week 1 with the offensive line. but they were still in it. They still had a chance to win this game. Hutchinson, the high draft pick, formerly of the Michigan Wolverines, he had an impact. He was able to get a little bit more pressure on the Rams once those injuries to the starters happened on the Rams offensive line. And also, I want to say Amon-Ra St. Brown, he was not much of used in this game, but that's okay because it was the emergence of Jameson Williams. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, he had 3 catches for 13 yards on 6 targets. But like I said, Jameson Williams had a big game. There's been talk about him all through preseason. And so he had a big, big game. I actually have him on a few fantasy teams, but I didn't start him. But he had a big game. He had 5 catches for 121 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a 52-yard long catch on 9 targets. So it was kind of his coming out party. Let's see if he can be more consistent. So he had a full off season, no injuries, no suspension. So this was an interesting game. And once this game was it went down to the wire. Obviously, Cooper Kupp had a big game. Puka Nacua went out with a knee injury. So then it became the Cooper Kupp show. And he was a big part of the game. He had 21 targets. He was targeted 21 times. He had 14 catches for 110 yards, 1 touchdown. And ultimately, I guess moving forward, you get down to it late in this game, it was the offensive line of the Los Angeles Rams that unfortunately let them down, because late in this game, David Montgomery became a huge factor late in the fourth quarter and into overtime. And as you know, in the overtime rules, if you score, you get in the end zone and score, the game is over, you win. The other team does not get a possession. Unlike in the playoffs, the other team does get a possession. So in this case, the Detroit Lions got the ball in terms of the coin flip, and the offensive line of the Detroit Lions dominated the defensive line of the Los Angeles Rams. They just pushed them, and Montgomery just had a huge game late in this game and into overtime. So that was the key to them winning. Montgomery had 17 carries for 91 yards, 1 catch for 2 yards, and of course the game-winning touchdown in overtime. It was just pure domination by this Detroit Lions offensive line. And of course, if you watch the beginning of the games, the rankings of the Pro Football Focus rankings, you saw, I want to say Penei Sewell was number 1 at his position, and I think the center, he was number 2 at his position. So, but the Lions have had one of the better offensive lines the past few years. And of course, Penei Sewell, he got paid this offseason amongst other players on that Detroit Lions team, but it was just pure domination. They were just pushing, bullying. All of the offensive linemen on the Detroit Lions won their matchup late in the fourth quarter and into overtime. And they just ran the ball down the field like multiple times in a row, a few passes here and there. And so that is how they were able to ultimately win this game. There were some other stats I wanted to look at, but that was ultimately the reason why the Lions won this game. One, obviously, injuries to their offensive line, Puka Nacua going out, and them getting pressure on Matthew Stafford. So they had some good plays offensively as well, the Rams did, but they go down. It was a tough place to play, so we'll see how this goes. So the Rams start out 0-1. The Lions start out 1-0. So they're on to week 2. Of course, there's one more game to be played to finish out week 1. That's Monday Night Football, the New York Jets and the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, and let's see. Lastly, the fantasy impact. I mentioned some of that earlier, but I'll mention it again. On the Rams side, I had Cooper Kupp in one league. Like I said, he had 14 catches for 110 yards, 1 touchdown on 21 targets, so it gave me 35 points there. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, he had a big game as well. 11 carries for 40 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 4 catches and 34 yards on 6 targets, so it gave me 17.4 points there on an ESPN.com league. And I had the Lions defense gave me 5 points and 3 points in 2 different leagues. So that's the fantasy impact there. So that's all for this game. It was a good game, went into overtime. Shame that the Rams didn't get a chance to respond, but those are the newish overtime rules. So good game. We'll see moving forward. The next Sunday Night Football game will be the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. And yeah, that's all I have for that game. There was, I guess, one thing I want to mention in terms of overall, number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams. It wasn't a great game for him, but the team got the win. It was the defense and special teams that came through for them. So Keenan Allen got hurt a little bit in this game, but it was mainly, like I said, the defense and special teams that won this game for the Chicago Bears. I'm sure he'll get better with more reps. And yeah, just wanted to mention that. So, and yeah, that's all for this episode that I have. Hope you enjoyed it. Please continue listening and downloading. Subscribe, share, tell some folks about it. It's fun talking about these games. Hopefully I can continue this. I don't know if I can keep going at this pace, but like I said, I'm trying to do these standalone games, meaning Sunday night, Thursday night, Monday night, and hopefully, the Thanksgiving games and Christmas Day games. But I'll see how that goes. I may not be able to, but that's all I have for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something. So until next time, we will talk soon.